We love you guys, but sometimes it's a little bit easier to negotiate with each other rather than negotiate through the Washington, D.C. press. So we'll have a series of meetings today to set the table for next week, and then we will work really hard to try to find a bipartisan product.
There are at least 6 to 12
lack of action
who have gone beyond general expressions of interest to looking at drafts
in this country
and language
that
of
Congress
a statute
cannot
could pass.
Overcome
I'll
the
let them
greed
announce when
and
they're
corruption
ready
of the gun
who
lobby.
they are,
it is an
but
outrage
this next week
that
will
they
be
cannot.
a testing time.
There you have Democratic Senators Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal talking about, they're at an event to talk about the gun control issue or the rampant gun issue in our country, hoping for a little bit of control. And there's some optimism. If you couldn't hear them over some of the background speakers, they're saying they have some Republicans that Blumenthal openly said, I can't name names of who they are because maybe they don't want to be heard yet, which I think is a different problem. But then also, as we get through the rest of this week and into the next week, we've been negotiating, we've been talking. We may be trying to actually get something done. Optimistic. Let's look at some of the details of what's going on here. Because Murphy, who's considered a leader of the negotiations on the Democratic side of this, said that there will be bipartisan meetings on the matter on Thursday. Yesterday, that would be. And the talks will continue over the Senate's Memorial Day recess. But he said Republicans would have a limited time to agree to something, or else Democrats will start forcing tough votes on the Senate floor. That part I like to hear. We'll have a series of meetings today to set the table for next week, and then we'll work really hard to try to find a bipartisan product, is what Murphy added. But listen, I'm not gonna negotiate forever. So if we can't get some progress by the end of next week, then I'll say to Senator Schumer, it's time to take votes. So also in remarks to supporters of this Moms Demand Action and Everytown during this rally, which is outside of the Senate, Murphy also emphasized the Democrats will make Republicans take very difficult votes if they don't play ball on gun reform. We're going to force people to tell America which side they're on, is what Murphy said. And also earlier in the day, Murphy, who's the leading proponent of passing stricter gun control measures, said that members of both parties plan to have a discussion on the nation's gun laws Thursday, as we're talking about a minute before there. So this is supposed to be all happening. So by today, this should really be going down. There should be some negotiations going down. Blumenthal maybe should have had his 6 to 10 Republicans that want some sensible gun reform legislation. There's also some tough talk from Murphy saying, hey, if you guys don't move on this, we're gonna start forcing some votes and have you be on record. These are the things that we're hoping for. I know a lot of people were concerned or saying, what are you really gonna do? You know where this is gonna land. Why are you guys wasting time with these votes? Sometimes people need to be on record voting wise versus just being on record when they speak in front of a camera or tweet or any of these other things that they do. So one other part about this, because this group, this includes Kirsten Sinema, as well as Democratic Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Martin Heinrich of New Mexico met in Murphy's hideaway, which is a small private space he has in the basement of the Senate. There's a lot here, David, because that stuck out to me too. Why do they got to hide away in a basement and talk about what everyone is talking about? Because they're actually trying to do something. Maybe it's to shield some of the Republicans that they claim are going to be on board here to a degree. But why does that have to be the case?
Yeah, and the way the Senate operates sometimes is confounding to so many of us. Look, Jayar, there's something that you did yesterday. You ran a clip of Texas Senator Ted Cruz, and he was unable to answer why is it that this kind of stuff happens in America as opposed to everywhere else. And he walked away and he tried to talk about how great America it is, but he wouldn't answer the question. And to me, that gets right to the heart of it. Republicans have got to be put on the record. Why do you think that these mass shootings happen so frequently in America, not everywhere else? If you think it is assault weapons, if you think it's lax gun laws, as I do, then you put forward that legislation. If you're a Republican, you think, no, it has to do with rap music, or it has to do with video games, or it has to do with something in culture. Well, at least then put forward legislation so that everybody can vote on your opinion about why this stuff happens. And Democrats have got to put the vote in front of everybody and say, do you approve assault weapons or do we ban them? It's a simple yes or no. Or maybe there's a modified position of, should we ban assault weapons until you turn 21, and then you can't get an, and then when you get 21, you can get an assault weapon just like you can drink. But they've got to put everybody on record and make this as simple and clear as possible. And I'm relieved to hear that there's 6 to 12 Republicans who are talking about this. I'm a little bit more pessimistic perhaps than you are, but you know what? Maybe they will be pleasantly surprising and actually have some sort of vote next week that actually makes some kind of difference.
We're going to see, because we're going to talk about the NRA stuff that's going to be going on starting today, and maybe the responses from that, maybe that's part of this triggering part. Again, we will get to that before this is all over. But there's another aspect of this really fast, David, because why is it? Is it just because they're now have a little bit of heart and they understand what's happened? They notice the horrific nature of yet another elementary school attack with an AR-15. It's partially because of Mitch McConnell, and because Mitch McConnell gave his, gave his word or gave his permission. Let's go to some of that, because Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said that he encouraged Senator John Cornyn of Texas to discuss the possibility of bipartisan action to address mass shootings with Democrats. McConnell said in an interview on CNN that he urged Cornyn to talk to Kirsten Sinema of Arizona, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, two Democrats who've called for bipartisan talks on gun safety legislation, and others who are interested in trying to get an outcome, listen to this part, that's directly related to the problem. I'm gonna pause there. There are some caveats. That's one of them. Mitch McConnell says, let's get to some solutions that are directly related to the problem. Based on whose opinion? Because we know when it comes to Republicans and Mitch McConnell, what they think is directly related to the problem is, as you said, David, rap music, taller fences, reinforced doors, tripwires, snakes in pits, all those types of things they want to put in every school in America. But so that's where my pessimism started kicking in more, a little bit more. This is what I said, and so I'm hopeful that we could come up with a bipartisan solution that's directly related to the facts of this awful massacre. Again, that was Mitch McConnell. Asked if the legislative solution that Republicans would welcome involves red flag laws, background checks, or mental health access, McConnell declined to offer any specifics. He only said that the goal is to come up with a proposal, if possible, that's crafted to meet this particular problem. He has said it 3 times just in these quotes, that he wants to narrow this down to things that maybe they believe are the problems, and maybe also make themselves look a little bit better than they've been looking lately, as they've been going on Twitter talking about boo-hoo, and this is political. Who cares about those children? He's trying to change their image in a different way than just having press conferences and thoughts and prayers. He thinks this way will work. This is the guy I don't trust.
Well, that's the politics of this, right? Because Republicans, look, the polling is overwhelming. 90% of Americans say, yes, there is a problem. Where people disagree is, well, what is the source of the problem? Is it too many guns? Is it too many assault weapons? Is it all this cultural stuff Republicans, the malarkey the Republicans come up with? So what Mitch McConnell is trying to do is he's trying to say, position the Republican Party, say, yes, we acknowledge there is a problem and we are addressing the problem, in the hopes that what Republicans can do is they can say, yes, we've addressed the problem, without infuriating their far-right conservative base, which doesn't want anything done in terms of restricting guns. And so McConnell's trying to, as you point out, position the Republican Party away from the do nothing, let everybody die party to, oh yeah, we recognize there's a problem. We're in sync with the American people that yes, we have too many mass shootings and we're taking action. What action? The devil is in the details. And I have a feeling Democrats are not going to be very pleased with whatever actions Republicans are suggesting, but that's the political play for Republicans, is to say, we're not the do nothing Republicans. We are doing something. We recognize, as almost every American does, that there is a problem. And then they'll just try to do it in such a way, they address the problem in such a way that it doesn't piss off their own base.
Yep, and then after Democrats say nope, not those nonsense things, they'll say, look at the Democrats trying to block sensible gun legislation. That's where the point is, and that's when they'll take this into the elections, because they know how bad they look now.